How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Keep Flying with us tonight. He can say his name, what he does, and all that jazz.
This is John here. I play saxophone, tenor saxophone specifically, in the pop-punk rock band Keep Flying. And we're based out of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania primarily.
Ooh.
But everyone has kind of poofed all over the U.S. during COVID, so it's not so much that anymore.
Well, I listen to respect the tri-state area. Salutes. But the first question I have for you, John, we kind of talked a little bit off camera about this, but how did Keep Flying start? How did everybody come together? How did you more specifically join the band? How did this whole collective of, because there's a lot of people in Keep Flying. I just watched the music video for Candy Cane Forest too, and I was like, man, there's a lot of people in this group. So I'm curious how all of y'all came together.
So the start of Keep Flying was 2016, and it was really on the ashes of pretty much everyone in the band's former band.
Oh wow, okay.
So like everyone in the band had been in bands that have disbanded or split prior to the formation of Keep Flying. Keep Flying was the fuel, was the fire rather, that got composed by different pieces of pockets of musicians who had not worked together before, and some had. The original incarnation of Keep Flying was multiple members of the same band, only a few of us from other bands. I joined the band in the beginning when Henry, me and him were friends. Our singer, he came to the house and was like, my old band's breaking up and I might try to do some new music with my brother because since the house is gone. And we discussed, some songs that he had written and turning them into just straight punk songs. And when he sent me the demos back, once they were changed, I was like, dude, I'm all in on this. This is exactly where I wanted to be in 2009, 2010.
Sure,
when I left my bands at the time, or whatever, when I was no longer in my bands at the time, in 2009, 2010, I was like, this is everything I've always wanted to be doing for, the last 6 years, man, 7 years. And he was like, cool, can you come down and, do the sax for the record?
Yeah.
So the band had not really become a band yet. We were in the studio, and as soon as I started recording, I was like, oh no, I'm doing this. like this isn't going to happen where I'm not there. And at the time I was super hey, I'll make as many shows as I can once we're at that point, but I have to work first.
Yeah.
And that had slowly changed over the last few years. It just completely reprioritized for me because, especially during the pandemic, I realized that it's really important to do what's going to make you happy and worry about the rest later. Because I think that I was probably really unhappy for a really long time. And I wouldn't say that I'm still perfectly happy yet, but I'd say that having a means to express myself in art, which for me, music, has helped me greatly.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad that happened. I'm not going to say that I'm glad all of my bandmates' old bands called it a day, but I am, because this band is significantly better than all of those. And I think our work ethic really shows that.
No, certainly. I mean, I feel like I've seen your guys' band around for a while, and I'm like, I feel like I've always had the urge to go check it out. And then before we hopped on, and before shout outs to Becky at Big Picture, she was like, you need to check these guys out. And I was like, okay. When Becky sends me stuff, I'm like, I gotta give it a listen. So I gave it a listen. Obviously, as I said before, I listened to Candy Cane Forest too, and I was like, wow, this is I wouldn't say it's out of my comfort zone per se, but I was pleasantly surprised at the amount of people that are in the group and how it can still be so cohesive. Where I was like, oh man, you know what? There's a lot of people in here. There's definitely a chance where it could be a little bit little out there, but in a way, it's you have you got the horn section, you got some banjo action, you got some guitars, you got some vocals, you got some bass, it just some cool drums. Like it really all works together in this unique way. And I was like, I'm like, I have to go listen to the rest of this stuff because I'm so intrigued by if this is just like the tame version of it, and then some of the other stuff is a little bit more out there. I'm sure obviously you could probably speak on that a little bit better than I can. But I was like pleasantly surprised, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to delve more into this band once we're done.
So did you get a chance to check out that song is on? That's actually a new version of that song, which exists on our first record, 2016.
Oh wow. Okay, I'll have to go
Right.
listen to the old version then.
Right. So that song, so we have this record coming out on Friday, actually, on
Ooh.
August 12th, called Revival, which is a recomposed album, like new versions of old songs. There is one new song on there, but the rest of the tracks are all new versions. And we decided a while ago, we don't care. We're still fine. Let's do genres. Let's do this. Let's try this. And so Candy Cane Forest 2 is, more like an Americana folk
Yeah.
of a song that we put out in 2016. It was really fun to have all of the extra musicians and musicianship on the song.
Sure. Yeah.
Switch to acoustics. Our friend Nick, who was in a band called the Swellers, laid down banjo.
Ooh.
Our friend Sam, who plays in a brass band in Philly called Snack Time, record tuba, which we didn't have in the video because he wasn't available for the video. He recorded tuba on a sousaphone on the record. And then we had our buddy Ian playing cello, the punk cellist. He's out of New England.
Very cool.
And yeah, it's kind of like the Mumford & Sons-esque version of this song, which we had no idea if people were going to care at all.
Sure.
And if they did, if they liked it, or if they didn't, if they hated it, or if people were going to be, I hate this version, why'd you do this? We didn't really get any of that response.
That's awesome.
The song that we released before that, the first single for the new record, which was a new version of Fire Sale, which is from our last record, Survival, is like a soft John Mayer kind
all right,
of laid back lounge version of the song. And same thing, we were like, I wonder if people will care. And we had a lot of people being like, we had a lot of older friends and relatives who were like, this is actually listenable. Thank you for releasing this loud with like yelling and like just loud. Okay, I understand. I see what you want from us. So that record, I mean, like I said, it's finally coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get it out. But it really is more like of a companion piece to our 2020 album, Survival. That's why we called it Revival, because it's half the songs are from Survival. Because we did not feel, like most, that we really got the full workings of that record, because we put it out during the pandemic. So we were like, we need to do new music. Like we'd really be upset to move on from this record.
Yeah.
What can we do? What if we did like recomposed, just to kind of like keep the emphasis there, and then we threw some other old songs from other records.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited. The next song on the record the record drops Friday. There's a rap song on there, a rap version of one of our songs that I think you're like, what?
Yeah.
And, and maybe they'll hate it, but man, I don't know. I've been listening to it for a long time.
Sure, I can imagine.
So like even still, when it comes on, I'm like, man, this is good. Now I don't know how we're gonna do it live.
Yeah.
But we've got some time till we do that. So we'll figure it out by that time. But yeah. Yeah, that was fun. And for that video that you saw, we were like, well, let's get all the homies in here. Let's
you got to
recorded on the actual song, because that's how many people were recording on the song. And I'll tell you, it was one of my favorite experiences that I've had shooting a music video, because we were just laughing the whole day.
I can imagine.
Genuine laughter, because we were all dressed the part and just having fun. It was like there's no rules here. We hired a friend, our buddy from Syracuse, to come down. He was happy to do it, eager to do it, and
Yeah.
he was like, just go for it. You any direction, man? Honestly, just kind of have fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Takes, and he put an edit together, and I was like, dude, this is good. I feel good. Like, this makes my heart
Yeah.
feel good.
It made my heart full, you know, and just this being kind of the first introduction, I feel like there's a lot more for me to delve into as you know, as a listener, and I'm very excited. And also, I think it's really cool that you guys took on the challenge of like how, like, because I feel like in an age where music is so like fast paced, like I can guarantee you people are gonna be like, when's the next album, when's the next thing, and you know, sometimes I feel like albums don't get enough love sometimes because it's like, you know, I don't want to say it's like lack of attention span, but it could definitely well be that. And I think it's cool to have a different interpretation of a song that you are familiar with already, and you can be like, okay, what are we gonna do? What can we do differently that would make this song unique to someone who is new, that maybe doesn't know about the band, that is like, oh my god, that's so much different, let me go listen to the original version. And then also for people who, you know, are older fans and have been like, yo, I've been a fan of Keep Flying for as long as they've been a band for, what are they doing to kind of change up their formula and try to do something different? So I feel like you guys, at least for my opinion and my stance, which probably is like this much importance, I like that you guys have taken the opportunity to not only do something different, but also like, you know, keep it fresh for you. Because like as an artist and seeing other bands and doing this for as long as I've been doing it, it's always cool to see bands trying to take on a different challenge that ultimately, you know, people may get, people may not get, but like the band, you can tell, like I could tell in the music video, you had so much joy, so much energy. It was really cool to see that in that sense. And then I'll have to juxtapose it with the actual, like the original version of the song and be like, okay, that's different, but I like it, you know. And so I've got to give you guys major props for that, because it must be difficult.
We all love all kinds of music, so it was really fun for us to explore that after never exploring that, like as far as creating those kinds of music. Never tried that before, had no idea how it was going to come out. Had a blast. One of my favorite times recording actually ever, and so much so that we know that we're going to do that again.
That's awesome.
We only 6 songs. We were we already are like, okay,
what's the next one?
We need to do more, turn this into a full length, like, because it was just fun for us. Because again, at the end of the day, yes, we want to make others excited, but like, I don't know, it's our art.
Yeah,
so, like,
sure.
Go to bed at night knowing I'm glad that I did that. I don't care if anybody, no one can listen to it ever, but I'm glad I did that. I'm glad that I'll have a copy of that on vinyl on my shelf that I can pull out in 20 years and be like, man, remember when we did that? That was a riot. You know what I mean?
I got you. I'll have to, you brought up a good point. I'm gonna have to add that to my collection of vinyl, which is over here off camera, that I'll have to, you know, delve into.
Ever
it
grow.
Is. Funnily enough, my parents, shout out to my parents, my mom asked me the other day, I moved recently, and she was just like, how many records do you have now? And I was like, well, let me count them out, because they're all out, and this is very rare for me to have them all collectively together. So I think I have roughly around 100 and like 80-ish right now.
Right.
So, you know.
Well, that 180 becomes 1,000 really quick.
I know. That's what I'm waiting for. That's going to be a pain in the ass to move later.
I'm in that exact boat at the moment where I'm realizing, I need to downsize these records. I have some of these records I have 3-4 copies of, just because I need to have every single variant of that record.
Wow.
Now I need 1 copy of the record.
That's what I've come to the conclusion of, is just like one variant. If I have the record,
that's
chef's
it.
Kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool. The people that are still variant collectors, I think that's awesome. I did it for years. I think it's cool. I just it's not even the money. It is the money too, but
A little bit.
it's more so the space.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
limit. I said this is how many cubes of vinyl I'm allowed to have. If it goes past that and it starts stacking on the floor, it cannot be that way. Can't be stacked. Have to get rid of. So it's like now I'm trying to make room for like new records that I've been picking up. I can't stop buying them. It's
Yeah.
so I get to a routine of selling to replace. You know what I mean?
It's my only vice. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. You know, like, I can't just stop,
Yeah.
but I can. I certainly have learned. I'm getting better at like, you know, sometimes there's records that I'm like, I haven't listened to that record ever. It's still in the shrink wrap. You know what? I've seen people are looking for this record. Let me just sell it.
Yeah.
Let me just somebody who like is excited about it because it's just sitting on my shelf. I've been looking at it. So
I've gone through the mentality that I'm like, since I've been collecting for such a long time, I'm like, I really got to try to go for new bands that I love currently, as well as if I can get a grail, you know, the ones that I've been looking for. You know,
yes,
I'll spend a little extra, you know, if I know I'm gonna get one that like I'm like, okay, this is this is nostalgia to me. I have to
yep.
get it, you know. So yeah, I feel
I
that.
feel I collected all of the Village People vinyl. I was just and find them used for $2, $3, but there's a lot.
Sure.
And man, I just made that my like fun bargain bin like job to find all of these. And when I got down to like the two that I was missing, it took quite a long time
Oh, I'm
before I
sure.
could have on eBay and bought them, but I was like, no, I want to find them in the wild.
Yeah, I got
Uh,
you. Yeah.
and that was fun. That was fun for me. Now I just mostly buy a lot of soundtracks. My friends' bands always.
Of
I
course.
always
Got to.
I'm of homies. Okay, let me buy it because I don't know how else I can support you. Let me buy your vinyl and soundtracks. You know what I mean? Like, so I just recently got a box set from Mondo that was the Rogue One.
Ooh,
And it's like a
nice.
four LP box set, and it's just awesome.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm always trying to collect video game vinyl. So anybody's got some good ones, let me know.
I have some of those. Like I have some like Castlevanias, a couple of those.
Ooh, all right, all right, all right,
Some
John.
some Banjo Kazooie. A lot of like bootleg companies actually
I
that make
got you.
these like
Yeah.
bootleg video game soundtracks on vinyl, which I always laugh and buy. I always buy.
Oh,
I'm like, well, I'll
always.
buy things like this, but I don't actually think I've ever listened to a single one of them. They're definitely in one cube, and I buy cool, and then I don't actually play them. I'm just not home that much either,
Fair
so it's
enough.
like hard. But yeah, this is our vinyl TED talk here.
There we go. Listen, John will come back on and I'll talk about vinyl for like hours on end, you know.
We'll talk about Grail pieces.
Oof. Let's do it, John. I'm down. I'm down. But yeah, getting back to Revival, I'm gonna have to grab that for my collection, so you can be rest assured I'll be picking one up. But
Appreciate it.
the next question I have for you, John, who were you influenced by growing up musically? Like, who got you started out? Because, like, I feel like with, you know, playing the instrument you're playing, which is sax, like, I imagine it runs a wide gambit of different genres. So I'm curious where you found inspiration to pick up the sax.
Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Ooh, nice.
I would say that is what made me realize, wait a minute, you can play sax like in a band and be like cool, and it be like this is cool, and that's one of my favorite bands of all time. And then performance wise, Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al Yankovic is someone I've been seeing since I was a kid, and he puts a damn show on. And the way that he entertains people is the way that I've always wanted to and had emulated on stage in my performing. And I would say the third thing to that would be Mick Foley, the wrestler.
Ooh, wow.
Again, not musician, that's not music. But again, like a lot of the things that I do when I'm performing, I learned from wrestling. A lot of the talking in between songs and knowing how to like really connect with people I learned from wrestling.
Yeah.
And I really do. Unfortunately for me now in my age, I do treat my body fairly poorly on stage, like Mick Foley did in the and so I took a lot from that. But people want to be entertained, man. People don't forget the sax player who's throwing his body around on stage and looks the way that I look. And so I try to do that just in case the music alone is not enough for them. If I can't get them with the music, because some people see horns and they're immediately like, nope, I'm good on that, which is fine, you know, to
Sure.
each their own.
Yeah.
I hope to maybe win them by the end of the set with something else during the show, either something that gets said or something that gets done on stage physically. And I think that it works fairly well.
Sure.
Other musical influences, I would say like the Blue Meanies were a really crazy like ska punk circus band from Chicago area, and when I got into them really young. And then as far as on the ska end of that, Catch 22, which was a New Jersey band,
Yep.
who played all the time, and also were one of the first bands that I really started seeing doing the mixed bill thing as far as a ska band. They were always on these bills with like the Real Mackenzies, an Irish punk band, and I saw them once with Most Precious Blood, which is an old hardcore band, and so they just did so many mixed bills. It made me open my understanding of other things, and that's when I got into the band Converge, which is one of my favorite time. And yeah, I just, then the rabbit hole opened. It was like, I'm a guy who plays sax and I love doing that, but like there's so many other kinds of music. And I think I heard a Cursive record that had Barry Sax on it, and that was when and a band called Morphine that also had Barry Sax.
Yeah.
Right. Like an old metal band. And I was like, okay, anything's possible. I just got to find the people, and Keep Flying found me. You know what I mean? Like, I think I tried really hard to find the people on my own, and then all of a sudden the people showed up at my door. Literally, Henry came to me upset about his old band calling it a day, and I was like, little did I know, here it is.
It's right here.
This is gonna be a band. And you know, right before I was on the phone with you, I was on the phone with him discussing the rest of our year and trying to plan tour dates. And it's like, here we are, like making it a part of our lives and prioritizing it at least somewhat the same as everything else in our lives.
Sure. Yeah.
To make it work, you know.
Yeah.
Thank God, man. Thank God for other people that decided they were going to try anything that wasn't the quote unquote norm at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I found everything my whole life. Everybody that's in my life has been found through punk rock. And, man, so I owe my whole life to punk rock. That's for sure.
I feel a lot of similarity to that, because that's like where I feel like myself too within the like alternative music scene. Like, never felt like I fit in anywhere specifically, and you know, alternative music has always been there for me. You know, like whether it's lyrically, like the band, meeting the bands and you know, getting close with them, and you know, obviously, you know, kind of evolving into doing this where I interview bands and get close with them. It's like, you know, and you were talking about, you know, having that memorability, like as we started off the show, like I remembered meeting you at you being a TM for you know, 4 years strong, like that's just like memorability on that. And I think that it's important to, like, as much as, and I think I mentioned this in like a previous interview, was just like the importance of how music is crucial to everybody's lives, but somehow is maybe just a little bit less important than, you know, somebody who goes to do like a 9-to-5 job or something like that, where we're all like, man, blue collar workers, that's great, you know, that's awesome, but like some stuff wouldn't exist unless music was there. And I think that you landed on a good point where, like, you know, I feel the same way, where music is very much a part of my life. It will very much continue to be a part of my life, and I hope to share that love with my kids eventually.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's like something about this scene particularly that, you know, I've always loved, and I think I will continue to just find enjoyment out of as, you know, I grow old and become maybe a little bit, you know, cynical about the scene slightly, but, you know, I feel like I
Every,
always have admiration for it, you know.
that's everybody though, man. Everybody, especially lately, you know, with
Yeah,
been a lot more like transparent conversations happening on social media of like, you know, bands that feel they were you know, misled by management or booking
sure,
agent
yeah,
or merch cuts or festivals, or there's all of these things where all of the, I don't want to say they're secrets of the trade, but like the stuff behind the scenes that not your you know, your average everyday music listener or concert goer knows.
sure, yeah,
Suddenly, you know, like everything, like all avenues of life, as social media grows, like it's more and more accessible for people to just find out things they never knew, right? So I do feel way more people are in tune with the politics that
yeah,
encompass all industries, and specifically we're talking about the music industry. So as we know, it's all politics.
yeah,
It's very rare when it's something is going on or being pushed through organically, um, i.e., a great current example of that is Turnstile.
yeah.
I I think that is such a great victory for
Oh,
punk music
100%.
because, and you know, again, this isn't like a brag or anything like that, but one of my closest friends is their day-to-day manager underneath their head manager James. And dude, I asked him, and he's like, no one knew that this was not planned for it to be like,
Yeah,
and it just went, and it's been cool hearing him tell me like they're gonna just keep doing it their way, they're gonna do it the way they want to do it, and it's, you know, that's just rare.
oh, 100%.
It's really rare. And so yeah, I'd say even just that one success story alone is enough for me to be grounded again and be like, you know what, cool things do happen,
Yeah,
you know, like to cool people and cool music. And you know, that's a win for everybody as far as I'm concerned when it comes to alt rock or punk music in any capacity. Big win for everyone.
oh,
uh,
100%.
you know, and then yeah, I don't know, I think we're all a little cynical and a little jaded, but it's just a
Fair
matter
enough.
of like, that's cool. Can we accept that we are and still
Yeah,
go, okay, I can. I get in the van some days and I'm like, man, and I have something to say, and usually 5 minutes in, I'm like, you know, I don't even, who cares? I,
that's true.
I
Yeah,
said I'm here, and I've decided that today, on this Thursday, that I am going to be doing this instead of working at this job because I valued my time and my happiness over whatever, you know, other thing I was going to
sure.
do. And
Yeah,
the three people at the show who came up to me and were like, dude, the new record makes me so happy, or this one song, or this one lyric, or just your energy on stage, that's enough for me to go at night when I'm laying down, you know, I really think I actually genuinely made someone else's day better today.
yeah.
Good, good for my band. Good night. Like, that's good enough.
You have made my day better, John. So I, you know, applaud you. But I, you know, I do agree with the turnstile thing, and genuinely, I hope that people go out and dig down, like we were talking about, the rabbit hole of different bands. You know, like Turnstile is just that, you know, gateway band to get into other bands, and I hope that
Yeah.
if anything, it expands the scene to where, you know, there are smaller bands like Keep Flying or like 4 Year Strong or other bands where I'm like, I love these bands. I've been loving these bands for years. Like, I'm hoping that people find out about them and are just as stoked as I am, and that, you know, I want to try to keep a positive outlook on the whole situation, because I think you know, it's incredibly good to, you know, that, like I said, they didn't lose that lose that dream of wanting to get up there. And obviously it's a great thing that they are there because they've worked their asses off. You know, I've definitely seen them a handful of times and been like, man, it would be really cool to just see them blow up. And I'm glad that they have been, you know, getting the recognition that they deserve, certainly as a band that's, you know, a staple, certainly. And I just hope that there's bands that, you know, that other bands that kind of go along that trail, and you know, you hope that everybody kind of sees some sort of success from that big tree now.
You know, it's really hard for people in this world, in this genre, and in this capacity to make any sort of real income from it.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a matter of like, are you cool with that? And if so, do the other things you gain from doing this shine through enough for you to keep doing it? And we see the bands and the artists that accept that, and we also unfortunately see the ones that go away because they can't, or they don't have the means to anymore, whatever the reason is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I came from nothing. I'm one of 6 children. I was the oldest. 6,
Wow.
raised by my grandparents and my mom. Didn't realize really that we were on food stamps when I was a kid. Didn't realize until very recently that my mom was telling me a story about you know, one year, it was like 3 years in a row, we won the like Thanksgiving dinner, the contest from the school, like the one. And I'm like, my mom's like, they gave those to the people who were poor, who didn't have, you know. And I didn't realize because I was a kid. I was in like elementary school.
Sure, yeah.
But like, I just said to Henry on the phone, hey man, I'm good with whatever our schedule is the rest of the year, because like, I'm not going to really stress too hard right now about.
Sure.
I just don't want to stress about work. I want to play shows. So you let me know what's up, what we can do, what you can do, and I'll start getting the shows together. You know, the guys, we'll talk to them on Thursday or Wednesday when we all meet back up. But like, what do you want to do? What's your schedule looking like? What's work like? Because we didn't even say, I kind of touched on it, but the whole band lives nowhere near each other anymore. My trombone player lives in Colorado. Henry, my singer, lives in South Carolina. Our guitar player, Dustin, lives in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm back and forth between New York and Nashville. And then Chuck, our bassist, is in Philly, and Peter, our drummer, is still in North Jersey. But he also goes back and forth to Ontario, like Toronto. So he's back. So we're all over now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Everything we do requires at least 3 flights, just to get us together. So it's like everything's much harder now, but like we still continue to make it work, and I think we continue to make it work because we all realize the gain, even though it may not be financial. We all realize the gain we get on life from doing it. So I'm very glad to be in a band with like-minded people, and I'm really glad to know a bunch of other bands who are feeling the same way. We're very good friends with this young up-and-coming band called Young Culture.
Ooh, they're my guys. Love them. Shout outs.
Great dudes who, you know, and I'm hoping that they're able to take a little bit money home from tour now, but they're just busting their ass.
Oh, yes they are.
They clearly love it, you know, yeah, man, we have a lot of friends like that are still wanting this dream so badly, but more so realizing how important it is, I think, for their own mental health as well, to have the outlet and be able to create art. And I think for a lot of us, it requires playing in front of other people.
Sure.
Some people can studio, that's awesome, but like for me, I need to like exchange energy with people.
Yeah.
Very important for me. So, you know, we'll see.
Well, you know, listen, continued blessings. I know you guys are going to kill it this year. Very excited, you know, very excited for everything you guys got coming out. And I'll definitely be just keeping my eye out for a Philly date to go out and see you guys. I can almost be assured that there will be something in the works.
Yeah, you're in Philly, so there's like 2 things, I think. At least one of them will come through for the fall.
There we go. Well, I'll be at it.
Right now, it's actually been really hard. Philly specifically has been hard. It's rather picky and choosy there.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for us to, but we haven't played there since before the pandemic. So,
Wow.
like, it's like a home market for us since Chuck has our bass player is born and raised South Philly, and I don't think
Ooh.
he'll ever. So it's been us trying to like make it work and figure it out, but I think we have it sorted now. I
There we
think
go.
that the space, the grape room, which is like a
Ooh,
small,
nice. Yeah. Manayunk.
yeah, yes, I think that's what it's looking like for November. I
Ooh.
think.
All right. I'll be
So
keeping
we'll
an
see.
eye out. I'll be keeping an eye
Yeah,
out. I'll definitely be going if it's in Manayunk for sure.
awesome.
Uh, but the next question, John, because we went on a very
Yeah,
brief tangent. But listen, blessings to you guys, and obviously, as I mentioned, just adding to my vinyl collection. I'm gonna have to go back and search for. If you guys have some Keep Flying vinyl that isn't the newest record, let me know because I'll buy it. Anyway, John, the next question I have for you, keeping it more current. What
yes.
are you jamming right now? What's on the Spotify? What have you been listening to lately?
The newest Turnover single
Oh,
has,
yes.
has been looping.
Mm.
It just keeps happening where I'm like, and always for the first like 10 seconds, I forget that it's Turnover because I'm like, it's a funk jam. It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
and so I forget, and then I remember, and I'm like, this is great. I hope that this works for them because this is to me. I'm like, this is awesome. Um, what else is currently being jammed right now? I've been listening to a lot of Rustin Kelly. He's a country guy.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right.
Really, really into that. The newest Harry Styles record has not left rotation. It came out
Yeah.
May 20. I won't forget. So that's been going nonstop. Um, Here's the thing with me. I really like to make sure that I tune into to top 40 radio because I think it's, at least for me, it's important to know what the biggest songs in music are so that I know like this is what people are looking for.
Sure. Yeah.
What the main population wants. These are the songs. So like I noticed that the disco's coming back. I think the new Beyonce song is like it's like 90s techno.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it's off the Night at the Roxbury soundtrack. And
Yeah.
I'm like, is this like is this coming back? Like late 90s like house music kind of like Alice DJ. Is this coming back? Cuz that's cool. I'm down with that cuz I love it. I'm trying to think what else I'm spinning that's more like our world. Um the new Turnstile we're listening
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
pretty frequently.
It's great.
Man, I got to be completely honest with you. I am someone who listens to soundtracks, scores. I listen to
Ooh.
scores.
Okay. You got any good ones? I need to know, John.
I've been the last score I re-listened to was the 3 LP Lost live orchestra that they took the recording from and turned it into a 3 LP vinyl set.
Ooh.
That was, I think, in New York or LA. I think LA. Because that's just my favorite TV show of all time.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
been on. What other score recently? A couple different horror scores. Terror Vision just put out a score for a movie that no one's ever seen called Elves. I've never seen it. No one's ever seen it, but they put check out. I bought it immediately, or I might be subscribed to their club, so I just
Okay.
received. The Gate, which is another old horror
Okay.
soundtrack. Listening to that was on. I'm just thinking about the pile by my record player. What's there? And then podcasts. I just finished one called S Town.
Okay.
Like 7 episodes. Because I was gonna say this again before we spin into another tangent, but I am someone who really only listens to music when it's the local, like the bands that I'm playing with at shows.
Fair
1,
enough.
2, soundtracks for the most part on vinyl at my home, and 3, in the car. I never have like uh, AirPods or earbuds in ever. I like can't. I never have headphones on. It's not. I don't own a pair of headphones. It's really only when I'm either in the van and whatever is being played is what I'm listening to, and
Fair
depending
enough.
on who's driving is what I'm listening to. And sometimes I request something, but it's usually a lot. And when I'm home driving, I do listen to the radio. I do not plug my phone in
Hmm.
to what's on the radio. And actually, this is funny. Um, Most recently, when I was driving, I did plug my phone in and I listened to that U2 record that everyone had put on their
Oh
phones
my god.
that one year because it's still to this day the only record that's on my phone. It just starts
Oh my
playing.
god.
So I did. I let it play through. It's the first time I ever actually listened. And I think that was like, I got to say, almost 10 years ago now. Eight
Oh
years.
yeah, it's got to be. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I listened to that whole U2 record. And yeah, it's not so bad. It's not really, there weren't really any songs that I was like, thought stuck out. But
Sure.
that's probably something that no one said to you ever.
No, yeah. This you are a first, John. That was a first. I don't feel like anybody has actually listened to that album intentionally, you know?
No, I don't did. I don't even know that people listened when it was on their. I don't know. I know I didn't, but I did. It did feel fulfilling to know it worked. They put that song on my phone, and I've transferred multiple phones, and I finally listened to their damn record that they put on my phone for free. It worked. It took years, but I listened to it.
They're gonna be taking all 3 cents from Spotify, you know, or
Right.
iTunes, however much they make back
Yeah,
over
or
there.
Apple Music. I don't remember.
But
The sun is finally setting here in San Jose, California, which I'm currently in for the next 2 days.
there you
So I
go.
had to.
But I gotta give you credit because I also have been, you know, as a resident, I feel like I've definitely talked about this before in different episodes, but I feel like it's that unpopular opinion to like, you know, music that is on the radio or something like that, especially within the scene, I'd imagine. But I gotta give you props. The new Harry Styles record is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
I am not like the biggest Harry Styles stan, but I like listened to it and I was like, man, all right, this is like could be like like if Harry Styles was not fronting this band, it could be a very much like an indie band that you would go see, like
Big time.
instrumentally wise, you know,
Yep.
on point. Definitely big fan of that.
Same with you. I'm on the same page. Like I wasn't like a Harry Styles guy, but I am now.
Same, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know that I'd pay the $300 or $400, whatever
Yeah.
it was, to see it in Manhattan, because I just don't know that I would. But I sure as hell listen to the damn record.
Hell
Often.
yeah.
And if it you know I take it back. I probably would go. Just $300 or $400 is tough for me because like you just said, I'm not like a big fan. I just think the record is unbelievable.
Oh,
I have
100%.
But I don't even know how much more. I know he's moving into movies now, so
We'll see how
it
much.
might be
Yeah,
yeah,
this
it
might be
might
the
be a
last one.
record, you know, and that might be a good thing. You know, maybe he'll take his time on another record and it'll be just as good, if not better. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I hope he takes his time because that was a great record. I also get a lot of flack, but I love Dua Lipa. She's got that great like funk, like, you know, like 70s, 80s kind of like, you know, vibe to it. Oof, it's just so good. So
Good. It feels good.
it's a bop. Yeah.
You know, I've also been. Oh, you know what else we've been spinning often? The Stranger Things season 4 soundtrack and
It's
like
so good.
the remixes, the songs they brought back, like all these things that I'm like, no, this is good. I don't care that it's played out. It isn't for me yet. I still think it's good. I still fall asleep to like rewatches of the episodes because I think the season was phenomenal. Like,
Agreed.
I'm certainly not someone who's like, oh, this is played out. Not yet. It will be.
Yeah.
Not played out yet. It will be when it's October, when Hocus Pocus 2 is out, like
Ooh.
the Queen movie. XY. This is okay. Now we got more stuff. All good. But for right now, I'm good with it.
There we go. Well, next question, John, I have for you. If you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Let me pull open the list for you.
Oh, you guys got a list. All right.
I know that I've been composing one for quite a long time.
Ooh, all right, all right.
We've always talked about doing covers, and then we've never had the time to do it. But we've recently brought it back.
Okay.
Around doing some 7 inches of multiple covers of like picking a few artists and doing multiple songs. So the one that we've all agreed on is Men at Work.
Ooh.
We would
wow.
probably Land Down Under and Overkill and Who Can It Be Now. But some other songs here, let's see. We've talked about doing Outcast. We've talked about doing the song Movies by Alien Ant Farm.
Ooh, all right.
Boys Are Back in Town. Somebody's Baby, Jackson Brown. We've talked about doing Dashboard Confessional, Incubus.
Ooh.
Covering Billy Joel or Linkin Park or Sublime, just because we thought that.
Yep.
So I think Microwave just did a Sublime cover on this new Pure Noise PBR comp that
yeah.
I don't want to touch that because I just listened to it like this week and was like, oh, this is so good. This is so good. It.
Microwave's fantastic too.
Right, you got it. Bloodhound Gang is another one we've talked about doing.
Ooh, all right, all right.
Call Me Al, Paul Simon. We talked about, I know I mentioned collecting their records earlier. We talked about doing The Village People. And
ooh.
I don't know that I've ever seen a punk band do the YMCA, and I'm not trying to give that surprise away, but I do think that that's in our future.
Oh,
like I do.
All right.
Like already horns on the track, so we already know, and also who doesn't know it?
That's true. Yeah.
It's one of those ones that when we're playing a show, hopefully supporting someone else, and they don't know us, we're able to be like, all right, we're not winning them over. Let's bust out the YMCA cover, and everyone in here is going to love it.
I agree.
I know that I think I saw Henry, my singer, put one the other day that I think he wants to do Chumbawamba, Tub Thumping. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, all right.
So he's starting. So we're all kind of like on the of like, let's do a 7-inch series of covers. Let's figure out cool covers because, well, it's just a little bit faster, like to put out.
Yeah,
You know, we don't necessarily have to wait for vinyl. We can just release it digitally and just like have fun with it. So those are some of the ideas. So I'm glad you asked because you might be the first person who's ever asked that, and you're the first person I've ever opened that note for. Which that was only like 25%. There's a lot more.
Oh my God, I feel so privileged, you know?
Every time we're in the song comes on that we're like, yo, what if I write it on?
Yeah, add it to the list. Of course, you got to. I respect the list, you know? You did mention Linkin Park. I feel like that one would be the strangest one, but I would love to hear it because I think it would be so interesting to see your guys' take on a Linkin Park track. I think that would be pretty wild.
It is one of those bands, you know, like I said, everybody's got different musical tastes.
Oh yeah.
But Linkin Park, I think, is like a 5 out of 6 member band. Like,
fair enough.
We can agree, and so is System of a Down. I think there's only one member of KF who's like, nah. Everyone else is like, yeah. So I think that those are like the two more like metal rock.
Yeah.
Like that.
Ooh, all right.
Where we, you know, I don't know.
There's a lot on the chopping board. I got you.
All we know is that anything we do, if we make an actual recorded version of it, it's got to be. We're only going to pick songs that like people would know.
Fair enough.
Cool when bands do covers that of something I didn't know existed, but then it's more so like a song that they love that they think is cool. Whereas I kind of view covers more for the live aspect of trying to continue to win people over.
The population.
Another thing we could pull out of the bag to be like, let's try this cover tonight because maybe it'll help win some people over.
Sure.
and they'll go home and actually listen to the songs and then decide later, like, you know what, I did like that band. They're cool.
I'm kind of in the same boat where, like, if I see a band I don't know and I'm like, man, and then they pull out like a Wicked cover and they make it their own, you've sold me,
Right.
like that's that. So I feel like if we're on the same wavelength, John, so, but yeah,
Very cool.
Village People, I feel like you guys would kill that. So I mean, if
Yeah,
I'll put my metaphorical token in that hat there.
I like that.
There we
That's a good.
go.
So I can bring that back to the guys on Wednesday and let them know, hey, I think it's time. I think it's time.
I'm glad that I was the straw that broke the camel's back. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But guys, if you have any suggestions for Keep Flying in terms of covers,
Send them.
drop them in the comments. They'll check it out. Who knows? Maybe it'll end up on a Keep Flying 7-inch or single. Next question I have for you, John, the all-important question: what is your favorite food to eat?
It changes, but my favorite food to eat. I've been vegan for 15 years, so this is a different.
Wow, awesome.
It's different now because pretty much anything that you can eat, I can eat at this point. It's like pretty. There's someone out there making the vegan version of it.
Correct.
So, honestly, I'm Italian, and I love a calzone.
Oh,
And not often anymore. And when I have a good vegan calzone, man, that is just the bomb. That is, I feel I'm full. I'm tired because it's way too much carbs.
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done now.
I could just take a nap right now. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I feel like if I was able to have like one last day's meal, like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I think I would have a authentic Brazilian acai bowl for breakfast.
Ooh, okay, all right.
With a super fresh squeezed juice, but more on the veggie side, like kale with carrot, maybe.
I got you. Okay, yeah.
I like a bitter juice that I know is making my body better.
Yeah.
I think for lunch, I would want to do, honestly, because this is also something that I really love now more than ever before, but just like a solid salad of whatever kind. I don't kale, ranch dressing, or balsamic. I do now love, especially in the summer and on hot days, just like a super leafy green, big bowl salad, super cold, crisp.
Refreshing.
Crunched the lettuce, right. I would choose that. And then for dinner, I would have the heavy carb. I would have the calzone with a couple garlic knots and some dipping, some marinara on the side for dipping, and call it a night. And put me in the ground after that. I'm good.
Listen, I gotta give you kudos, John. You went all the way. Like, I feel like people give me that one thing that they're just like, stoked on, and I appreciate that. But I appreciate the extra mileage because much like people know here on the channel, I'm a huge foodie. I love to, I love to find out like those different cuisines. And I know that you mentioned earlier you're vegan, and I'll argue there are probably some vegan meals that I enjoy more than the actual like meat meal. And I try to kind of like mix different vegan options in my normal diet, So I always think about it, and I feel like there's gonna be that one day where everything kind of twists over, and then I'll probably want to be vegan.
Most people in my life, at this point, like, they eat vegan or vegetarian some meals. Like,
yeah, it's not uncommon.
Either consciously or not. Like, sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't even realize, but I just had a completely vegan meal today. I didn't even think about it. So I think it's just becoming more and more common since it's becoming more and more normalized, and that's great for you and for anyone who wants to be healthier and also do their part on bringing down the the earth dying as fast. So
we could all get on that same boat, I feel.
I'm
Metaphorical boat, you know, but
not a narcissist, or when it comes to that, like, just gonna sit here and be like, you're all destroying the earth. But like, I don't know, at this point, like, anything we could
at this
do,
point, yeah.
maybe just simple things like maybe just don't litter, maybe just throw it in the trash can. I don't know, who am I? But like, little things like that, if everybody did it, maybe it would make a difference. So I do think it's cool when friends of mine who are not vegan or vegetarian are like, dude, I just ate this like vegan quesadilla from Moe's that they got now, and it's actually pretty good. I'm like, that's awesome, man, good for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I feel like, you have to, I for a while it was like, okay, can I do it? And then I would find different like recipes or things, and I'm like, you know what, like it's just as good. And if you don't like imagine that there's some sort of meat in it or whatever, like it works out, and I think that's the culture that you grow up in, where you gotta like eat something with meat in it. And I feel like sometimes I'm just like, I'm very much like you. If there's a nice salad I can have with like some like black beans and some corn or whatever,
Right.
that's nice. I'll take it on a 90 plus degree day, a nice cold salad, refreshing.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that?
My best friend is a hunter. Like, I do understand. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
He hunts. He hunts turkeys. He's trying to hunt turkeys in every state of the United States of America with his little passbook. Like,
Wow.
it doesn't really make him less my best friend. In fact, I love him. And so I do understand that, like, we're all people on this
Yeah.
planet. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this. It's
I
just,
I
what
respect
is?
it.
Sometimes when people hear, oh, vegan, they think like this guy is far, far, far left liberal and hates me because I'm not vegan. No, I am very much just happy to talk about it if people want to talk about it, and I don't ever really preach about it
That's
much.
yeah.
Sometimes a shirt that says vegan on it, sure, but I'm not really someone who's like, do this or piss off, like,
Yeah.
that's who I am. I don't think that gets it done.
Does
So
not. No.
when people bring it up to me, it's nice to talk about. And when they ask me questions like, how do you do this? Like, sure, I'll show you or I'll tell you. Maybe that means they like we were talking about, they eat a little bit better for their own health, or or whatever it is. All good.
All that it comes down to, John, is that now I'm gonna be like Facebook messaging you and saying like, yo, what vegan recipes you had recently that just slap, and I'm gonna
Yep.
ask you for them, and I'm gonna go buy the ingredients, and then I'll send a photo of it to you and be like, on point.
That sounds great. I love that.
There we go.
That's great.
Next question, John, a fun one. If you guys could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest feature on an up-and-coming Keep Flying record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, do you have any ideas?
That one has changed a lot. We've talked about all the different. We're gonna ask. We're very good friends with the. I don't know if you're familiar with the band Transit in Massachusetts.
That's
So-
one of my favorite bands of all time. So,
Okay,
yes.
we're for sure gonna have. We've already finished another record, but like after the next thing we're gonna do is likely a full length. So I know that we're gonna have them involved in some capacity. I do think it actually might be both a little bit of guitar work and a little bit of vocal work from Joe and Tori. So I do think that. Because for me, that becomes full circle, because that is a band that I've just been very involved with since they started, and it's just like it feels right. So that's one that we all agree with. We all like, and like I said, besides that, it changes. Like we do talk about like what if we work with this person, or what if we got this person to do a feature. But I'd say the dream feature would maybe be, honestly, like if we could get like Haley Williams to do like a
Ooh.
feature, because I have friends that had that on their records years ago, and I
Sure,
thought that
sure.
was awesome. I thought that was really rad, and I think that that would be really cool for me, or like a little bit older, but like a Joanna Newsom, or like just
Ooh,
I don't know, somebody. I don't know. I think it would mean a lot to me because we haven't had that on any of the Keep Flying material yet. We haven't
sure.
had a female voice on any of the songs, so that's something that would really make me excited again because it's something different. Producer wise, I think I'd love to work with Bill Stevenson, Descendants, like out in the
Ooh,
blasting.
nice.
And a lot of people I know have, and I never have. So it's like sounds like an experience I'd like to say that I have.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think I've always wanted to work with Steve Evans because he was working on a lot of records for a band that I used to work for a long time, and I really liked him, and I liked his methods, and I liked how he was in the studio. And again, another person that I was like, man, I wish I could do that with my own music. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't think any of those things are off the table. I think it's just a matter of us finding the money to pay
Fair enough.
for it.
Yeah.
As we are still, we're not signed. So it's like we front all the money ourselves out of our own pockets. So
Yeah.
it's like, if we want to do that, we could. We're very comfortable with our friend Nick Brazizi at the Gradwell House now.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
done the last few records, and this newest record that's done, he's mixing at the moment, and we just love him. And he's added so much to the production side of the band. So like, we feel loyalty to him,
Sure.
and we're proud to work with him. So I don't know. I don't see that changing right now. But yeah, you asked hypothetically, and so I gave some. But yeah, I mean, I'd be open to anything. I don't know. I think it's cool when I see that producers of one kind of music, for the most part, work on other kinds of records.
Oh,
So
100%.
that kind of thing might be really interesting to me, like getting some like bigger like metal producer, like Will Putney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you want to try working on this like punk band with horns thing? Or I'm sure you don't, but like, what if,
What if you tried it? Yeah.
who knows? Maybe the heavy stuff would be way heavier. I don't know,
I think
So,
that
I
would be interesting. I like that idea. I think that would be pretty rad. Obviously, I have a lot of love for Transit, being one of my favorite bands. Funnily enough, we were talking about Grails earlier. I picked up Listen and Forgive, which is been a Grail of mine for a lifetime, and I picked it up recently, and my heart is full now that I have it in my collection. But yeah.
know when there'll be another press of that, because that is all tied up with Rise Rec.
Yep.
And we had such a long process with them when they got picked up by Sony, and because I'm still like actively helping the band with business things.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I would say there's no on the horizon of these records coming back into the fold at the moment. That could change, but it's not really a thing right now.
Yeah,
So,
that would make sense.
Because I know a lot of people do not have.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt very fortunate. I don't know if it was like the vinyl god shining down on me that day, but I happened to be in, one of the Facebook's groups, and some guy I knew, he was like, "Hey, selling this record," and I said, immediate buy. Like I've been looking for. I got real close probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was actually a buddy of mine I knew that was selling it, and then he felt bad that he sold it to someone else, and I was like, nah, that's a part of the fun of owning vinyl, is the hunt. And I felt very vindicated last year when I got it, and I was like, it's here, it's done, crossed off the list.
I love that.
But yes, I would love to hear Joe. So Joe, I don't know if it's possible, but that would be a very full circle moment for me.
He's out there. He's in Charlotte. He has a daughter now, and he's working on music though. He's working on stuff, a few things. He's out there. He's
All right,
his
all right, all right.
has came, so he's out there
All
working.
right. All right. Well, I'm going to hear here first from you, John, and obviously keep my ear to the ground now just because you got me all hyped now. I'm super stoked. But the next question I have for you, John, obviously you play sax, but if there was another musical instrument you could master, what would it be?
Oh, it would have been guitar.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
It's as easy as that. If I was simply a guitar player who was even just halfway decent, I would have been, as someone who was addicted to the road for so many years, I would have been in somebody else's band. It's not like a brag. I'm just a people person and a networker, and I would have been playing in someone's band guitar.
Fair
Because
enough.
sax, unfortunately, no, that's not a thing. There's not often we have an open position for a sax player over here.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, that's it. That's a simple one. I wish it was guitar, because then I would have just been probably never stopped playing in bands. So, but what are you gonna do?
Respect the dedication to being a sax player. I feel like I gotta give you respect for that, because like it's so difficult, especially with, I would imagine, within this scene of music and being punk and alternative, like that isn't something that is really, I want to say well known, but it's not something that, like, unless you're like in the
Right.
scene of music, like you're like, really, like a saxophone player, that just
Right.
seems a little out of there. So I gotta give you respect for holding it down for as long as you have.
Yeah, I don't mind it either, because I have been able to play live with a lot of friends' bands on like 30 seconds of a song of
Sure.
theirs where they are solo, where I've played sax live instead. So I've gotten to do that. I got to play with Saves the Day at Warped Tour.
Nice.
2018, I think, the last year, and that was great. Like just little things like that I'm like, you know what, that makes up for it.
all the times you could have played guitar, the sax moments make up for
Little
it.
time friends were like, yo, just grab the sax and bring it out and just rip a solo on the bridge. All right, like that has
And then they always come out wicked, so I'm very stoked. The next question I have for you, John, my personal favorite, as I mentioned, I'm a huge nerd, so I love to ask it. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
If I could be a video game character, who would I be? I would probably be Blanca from Street Fighter. I don't know why.
Nice.
I always loved him. I don't really know why I loved him. I'm a fantasy person. I like fantasy.
Okay.
Sci-fi, and fantasy is my like biggest thing. And Blanca, he's like the monster, right?
He
He's
is,
like
yeah.
So like that has always, he's like a creature, like the
Yeah.
universal creature. So I think I've always been onto that character, and I think I often played. Whenever I played, I would always choose Blanca. Sometimes alternative colorway Blanca.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd say Blanca. I think that's my choice.
I like that.
I'm a werewolf guy. I like I like a transformation, and Blanca is like a guy who became this like beast. So I like that. I guess same as like the little character in Altered Beast.
Yeah.
Like the little orbs, and then you eventually fully become the thing. I like that.
I think the strangest thing about, obviously, Street Fighter is just that everybody is like a Taekwondo master, and then you have Blanca that's like this like electric like beast.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
just,
sense.
Crouches down and just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I know there's clearly lore there, and
Sure.
someone else way smarter with that would be able to say, well, actually, this, that, the other thing. I recall in the movie, I believe he is a person, and he gets trapped in the cave. I think that he rescues Dalsim at the end. If I recall, he escapes, but you see his eye changes. I think I haven't rewatched the movie in quite some time, but I'm sure there's a story there.
Yeah.
And someone else who's much more into that would know it,
Certainly.
or I could Wikipedia it. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. They're all like that, and he's like just a creature.
Let us know in the comments what the true Blanca story. We would love to know.
Story.
But the next question I have for you, John, if you were to compile a dream tour lineup including Keep Flying, who would be on it?
Less Than Jake, which we're fortunate to be going out with for 2 weeks in September, and that is a 6 for 6 band in Keep Flying. That is one of the all 6 members go. Yep. So I'd say Less Than Jake.
Fair enough.
I would say we just got to play a couple shows with them, and I just had such a blast, and it was just too short. So I would say the Bouncing Souls.
Ooh.
Which is another thing that we can agree on, 6 for 6. And so I would include them. I'm praying that we do more shows with them, because it was the most fun I've had in a really long time.
Very cool. Very cool. Love to see it.
Maybe like Comeback Kid.
Oh, wow. All right.
Thing, because we on our newest, like, we take some elements from them, like,
sure,
you know, especially moving forward with this next record we have coming out. We have like we lean in that as far as like hardcore goes. Like that's kind of where we want to lean. And I'd say I'd wrap it up with like our newest member's favorite band, Wilhelm Scream.
Oh, interesting. All right.
They don't tour a lot, and a band that the rest of us have always loved in the same kind of world, like the Flatliners from Canada. So something like that. More so like the older. I mean, we try to float in between like the Lagwagons in the world and the Real Friends of the world. Those are two very paths, and we've been like kind of flowing in between them. Not sure which one to go, but. Man, I just love playing with the punk bands, man.
Ooh,
because I feel like I fit here. I belong here. I grew up with these, and they're still doing it, which makes me feel that it's okay that I'm still doing it, because they're all 10+ years older than me. So let's keep going. You know?
Yeah, respect. That's great. I love the Comeback Kid edition, because like I also enjoy Comeback Kid, and it would be cool to see you guys matched up with like a hardcore kind of punk band. But that lineup was tight. I would pay money to go see that. You know, I would pay good money for that. So yeah.
I would also trade that whole lineup to just be Weird Al's opener for one show.
Weird Al.
Because that's the dream right there. Just one. Don't get a tour. If I was able to, even a festival, if I was able to open for Al, even just once, I'm good. I'd feel like, well, I did the thing, and now whatever happens, happens. All good.
Listen, guys, we love John here already. If you want to make John happy, you make sure to tag Weird Al Yankovic on Twitter, tag Keep Flying, say shows ? I mean, I feel like I don't know. I feel like that, you know, the power of the internet. I believe in manifestation. So you know, just saying.
You never know.
You never know.
Hey,
so go do it, please, for John and me, but mostly John. Next question, John. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but I always love to get a definitive answer, of course. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Favorite TV show is Lost, by far.
100%.
100%. Happy to talk to anyone who's seen it. Happy to coax anyone who hasn't into watching it.
It's great.
It changed me. Amazing show. During COVID, I've rewatched the show over a dozen times, but I got to watch it through with my mother, who had never seen it while we were.
Oh, very cool.
And it was just amazing to watch like someone much older than me like have their feelings and theories and thoughts. Such a great thing for me, bonding experience with my mother, which I haven't had in a long time. So that was great. Favorite movie? Is that the other one?
Yes, correct, John.
Favorite movie? That's really difficult for me to say, but if I was to pick only one, it would be Robin Williams' Hook.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
That would be. I was only allowed. When you say favorite movie, I'm going to do it on this basis. You're allowed to watch one movie. That's it. That's the one that I'd pick, because that one, I think it's just tied to me from my childhood, and also Robin is one of my favorite actors.
Oh,
and also, the story is just awesome. Feels very close to home for me. also being someone who's like, stuck with their youth and like having a
Sure.
hard time. Right. So I think that that is the movie. That would be the one for sure.
Ooh, there we go. Two great choices. I definitely also, you know, very similarly to John, highly recommend watching Lost. Great,
Uh,
again, great TV series, and I feel like a lot of people don't really mention a lot about them. So always good to plug Lost whenever you can. Next question for you. Ironically enough, I guess in the same vein as this question, but if you were trapped on a desert island, John, for the next month, and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what would it be?
um, Probably the Harry Styles record.
Oh, okay, we're doubling down. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was like tomorrow, yes, because the record's still good. And if it was
Yes.
only a month, that record would, I'd be able to lay there at night in defeat that I'm still stuck on an island and be like, well, let me just look at these damn stars and or try to find food or whatever it is that I'm doing at the moment. And that record would at least probably calm me down a little bit. Familiarity. I said the wrong word a little bit poorly, but
It's all right.
the familiar feeling of and emotions of that record would maybe help focus my mind. Um, I don't think I could say another record because that's the one that I listen to in full from front to back. There's a lot of
Yes.
records I listen to in full once, but then I have a hard time because I think some songs aren't so great, or I just want to make a playlist of multiple songs. But the Harry record I can do front to back, so
I agree. It
that's
is.
the one.
It is filled with a bunch of bangers, so we can't deny it. Can't deny it. Um, the second to last question I have for you, John. I've been asking this a lot to more current people I've been having on, and honestly, it's something that I want to keep in my rotation. But for people who have watched this interview, first of all, thank you so much for watching. But secondly, what do you want people to take away from Keep Flying, whether it be from a lyrical perspective, musical perspective, or kind of a combination of two? Like, what do you want people to know about your band, or have feelings about your band going away from this interview?
We are a blue collar band for everyday people who care more about the quality than the quantity.
Fair enough.
And we are very supportive of the community that supports us. And if that is something that someone feels that they're lacking, I feel we, not just us, but our community is a very caring, affectionate, and safe place for people who feel like they need somewhere to be or go to feel good. I think that, again, I say it's not just us because a lot of friends, I see a lot of friends making friends with each other via coming to our shows.
Yeah.
And leaving being like, I got this person's number, and now they're coming to a show together 6 months later, and I'm like, wow, they became friends at our show. That's kind of cool. I know a lot of other bands have that energy and that output as well, which is really cool. And it reminds me of what I felt when I was young, going to shows. Different time, because no cell phone. I was getting phone numbers on a piece of paper, and I was then meeting them in Manhattan for shows, like calling them on the landline, being like, I'm taking this time train, and I'll try to find you once I'm in there, or I'm going to wear this hat, and
Yeah.
And so I think that it's really interesting that people are able to connect like that. And we're just you take one look at us, we're just people. We're just people. None of us are super, and none of us are out there trying to accomplish any agenda other than having a good time. Maybe at one point, but not with Keep Flying. Keep Flying era has been, well, we're older and we did this, we tried. If any opportunity that comes is awesome, but we'll also be happy with whatever happens from this. And man, even just in you asking this question, I'm realizing that I actually am pretty content with the fact that I've made a lot of my current active life friends via the band. They've replaced a lot of older friends in my life who, as it turns out, weren't the friends I thought they were.
Sure.
And vice versa. I was the friend that they thought. But a lot of my current friends I met via KF in some capacity, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. So.
Oh, 100%. And ironically enough, like shout outs to my roommate Chad. Like we went to the gym together, and we were talking about that, how, you know, music has this way of binding people together, and I would argue it's unlike anything else on this earth, and that is probably the coolest thing. Just meeting you, John, obviously knowing you from 4 Year Strong shows, but just getting
Sure.
to know you better on a more personal level, like, that's such a cool thing. And, you know, obviously anytime I have people on here, we're friends automatically. And that's just crazy to me. So, you know, obviously continued success for Keep Flying, because I know y'all are just a bunch of genuine bunch of people and deserve all the love and admiration that you guys get. So certainly blessings to you guys. And
Thank you.
obviously the most important thing, John, the reason you're probably on here, tell the people where they can find Keep Flying at on social media, what you guys have coming up, and obviously plug the vinyl, because, you know, why not?
Yeah, the record's there. We just released the live version of our last record, Survival Live. We put that on vinyl.
Very
That's
cool.
available. The new record comes out on Friday, August 12th, called Revival. That's also available via Smart Punk. There are 2 different variants you can grab there. We go on tour starting August 11th, promoting the record and also just playing shows in and around. Mostly this August through September is just the Northeast and Midwest and Upper West Coast and the mountains, with Less Than Jake and Bowling for Soup. So if you're not in the northern part of the United States of America, we're probably not coming that close to you, but we do intend to finish out our year by doing some Canadian stuff in October and some southern stuff in November-ish. So like we're hoping to have by the end of the year, like most of the North America has been hit. And yeah, you could find that all, just Google Keep Flying or Keep Flying Band on the social media, and there it is. There is not another one called Keep Flying, so it's not hard to find. And everything's up there, you know?
There we go. Well, guys, I'll make your life a little easier. Check all the links in the description. You can find out about Keep Flying. Go pick up the record if you're a vinyl fiend, much like myself. It would be down below. I already know as soon as John and I hang up, I'm going to be going to look for it and buying it, because John and I feel like we are just lost connections that have been brought together. So, gotta support Keep Flying, and you should too. If you can go pick up the record, please go do that. If not, go see him out at a show. Go say what's up to John. Tell him you said you watched this interview, or not. I don't know. However you find out about music, do it.
I would love that. If someone said, I saw this interview, I'd be like, that's awesome.
That's to me. That I would be stoked too. So if you do love this, I do appreciate it. And, obviously I have to plug myself. If you enjoy this interview, share, like, and subscribe. It goes a long way. I love this community that I've built over 6 to 7-ish years, and love doing this. So glad to add John to the fold here. Again, please go check out Keep Flying. Lovely people, lovely people. So go give them some love. And again, huge thanks to John for coming on tonight and chatting with me.
Rock and roll.